Greetings guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette and this is my channel Evolve with Monette. I'm so happy to be sharing some energy with you today. For those of you that are new here, I am a professional intuitive empath, and today we're going to get right into the subject matter, which is the twin flame journey, right? So this has been something that's been coming to me lately. For those of you that have been watching for a while, you know that I've been working through not my twin flame, certainly not that, but a karmic soulmate who was there to teach me lessons. And so I was so focused on that journey for so many years that I didn't really even understand about the twin flame journey. Now, some people say that the monikers are exchangeable. Twin flame is a soulmate is a twin flame. I'm going to go over some notes that I've made here about some of the things that happen when you're dealing with a twin flame. And I'm not going to talk so much about the soulmate. I think I have enough videos up here about that. But what I want you to understand, I even have a video about a karmic. So for those of you that are wondering if maybe your counterpart's dealing with a karmic, just something to understand. Today I want only feel good vibes, right? So let's just focus on the stuff that makes us feel juicy. But this is a new thing for me, and I had a dream about it about 4 weeks ago, and then I had another dream about it last night. I recently started taking melatonin because I've been dealing with a lot of ascension and spiritual warfare stuff, and I've needed to sleep, and I'm not a medication kind of taker. And I had a brilliant recommendation for that, and it's been lovely, but it's made me have some wild dreams. And I had this dream that I was talking to an angel, and they were telling me, they literally put a book down in front of me, and they're like, oh, this is the thing that we're going to study next. Like, it was real direct. It wasn't like I had to guess. You know how in dreams sometimes you have to like make sense of it. It was like, oh, this is next. And I was like, okay, so let's take a look at it, because it's not anything that I'd really focused on, because again, I was so immersed in that divine counterpart, soulmate, this and that journey. So this is the stuff to understand about your twin flame, as I have recently been researching. So instant recognition of the importance in your life. So for those of you that feel like, is this a twin flame? Instantaneously maybe meeting someone, a love at first sight, all that stuff that you hear about is very much twin flame energy, okay? The other thing is physical attraction, even though they're not your type, either in looking similar or in appearance, and it shatters your paradigm of attraction. So most people, as I've been doing a lot of research about this, are not usually attracted to their twin flame. And I was like, what kind of sorcery is this, God, that we wouldn't be attracted to a twin flame, but you're still attracted to them, right? You feel that, and it's an energy that I've had in my life where I've been like, this is different, right? So that's something to think about. They aren't your type. And I actually have a video that I will be putting up tonight, probably before you even see this. I always fall for your type, where I explain falling for a type and how sometimes we have to shift. So I thought it was hilarious that this was the next thing we're going to study. Thank you, angels. Also, the heart chakra activation happens. You have butterflies, jitteriness, heart palpitations when you're in close proximity to the person. So for any of you guys that have experienced that, please comment below. I want to know how you have felt. Have you felt that, like, ooh, who is this person? So that's one of the things on the twin flame journey that you might experience. An intense longing to be with them. Now, that intense longing to be with them is usually something that happens because in all of these, like, very I knew you before journeys and moments, you might be either at a distance, or there's something that is in the way of your immediate union. So you might be longing. The card that comes to mind when I think of that kind of longing is found in one of my favorite decks, which is the Light Seers Tarot. And I'm going to see if I can find it for you. But this card, every time it comes up in one of my readings, it stops my heart. It's so passionate, and it so describes what I think the twin flame journey is like. I have not encountered, to my knowledge, my twin flame. I definitely, or if I have, it's not been fleshed out. Like, you know, I'm not a person that's had the moments and all the things with the twin flame. But this, ooh, excuse me, is what I think of when I think of the twin flame journey, the lovers. You see the passion there? Anytime I'm doing a reading, this pops up, or it flashes by as I'm shuffling, it catches me. I'm like, oh my God. I don't know if I've ever felt like this about anybody in my life so far. This has just not been a thing, y'all. I have not. 6 is about balance. 6 is about equal give and take. The Lover's card in the tarot is a 6 card. That longing. Guys, get into that. That's the twin flame journey, especially when you actually encounter them. That's what my angel said. I prayed about this because I was like, how can I teach about this if I haven't fully embodied this? But they said, this is why teachers teach. So here we are. There will be huge obstacles, usually an age gap, religious beliefs, different ethnicity here. And in this card, he looks like he has a different ethnicity than she is, right? So different ethnicity, already in a relationship with someone else. There could be work issues, addictions, or long distance. And that is why before that I wrote longing, 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 because there are things in the way of any twin flame journey that usually are a hindrance to immediate coupling, and you have to overcome them and negotiate them and work through it and set up terms and conditions. And there's a lot of work that goes into managing a twin flame journey in that way. Now, the reason that we go through the work to find the twin flame and to engage in this is because number 6, and this was, I did a lot of research and I read a lot of metaphysical articles. I let my Virgo work for you guys. I have some Virgo placements in my chart that will study and nerd out, and I did because I wanted to get you good information. But outstanding sex, Kundalini activation. Now, Kundalini sex and tantric sex is the highest form of sex because you're actually connecting. Tantric sex, you may have heard of that because Sting and his wife practiced tantric sex, and they talked about it a lot in the late 90s, early 2000s, okay? That's the first time I heard of tantric sex, and I started to study that. And so that Kundalini rising is also the activation of all of your chakras kind of being blown out by the snake-like energy. Now, the snake is very much representative of various things. It's very symbolic, and I'll do an animal totem of the snake, but really it's about sexuality and passion and longing. It's also about deceit and various things. But when we're talking about the Kundalini rising, we're talking quite literally about the Cobra rising. Now, this is not relegated just to heterosexual partners, okay? It's also same sex. We all have Kundalini, and we all have the ability to have connected tantric sex. So many of us are not living our full sexual juicy lives, and I believe that that's part of my mission here on earth, is to talk to you guys candidly about the sex we're having and the sex we're not having, the relationships we think we're having, and the compromises that we're making. More to come. So outstanding, ridiculously good sex, okay? Ugh, yikes. Mufasa. I love it, okay? So the other thing, number 7, is an unexplainable emotional release when you see the person. Now, this is interesting to me because I do a lot of work in healing codependency. And so I wonder what that's like. Like, how does that stay balanced? If anybody has met or had sex or encountered their twin flame, please comment below about that emotional release. Now, I know what it's like to feel relieved when I really am looking forward to seeing someone, and I'm like, I need to be there with you, hurry up, and all that stuff. So I think we've all had that when we've been in love, and I'm wondering if it's more elevated when you get with your twin flame. So this is something for us to kind of evolve with together, okay? Number 8, immense feelings of unconditional love. And I love that. And I think it correlates to number 5, the huge obstacles, usually age gaps, religious beliefs, different ethnicities, already in a relationship with someone else, with somebody who may be married or not married or have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever have you, work issues, addictions, and long distance. Your twin flame, that immense feeling of unconditional love, will usually overcome those things, the long distance, the drama, the figuring it out, the how do we navigate this, the what does our relationship mean, the are we as involved as we think, should we be as involved, is this worth a risk, all of that stuff. Unconditional love must be at the fore if you're going to move past those obstacles, okay? So the other thing is an increased coincidence, and synchronistic life. So you and your twin flame may start to feel the same, think the same, and maybe even compare notes on similar occurrences that are happening in your life. You may even say that to each other. Are we twinning, or whatever the case may be. You may even, that's one of the things that they talked to me about the most, actually, was that the synchronicity. I pay a lot of attention to synchronicities because I believe like the world is a tarot card. I believe that everything is an oracle card. Everything means something. And it's the way I live my life, but it's really guided me. And so synchronicities are a super big deal. Angel numbers, various things like that. I pay attention. I had a really cool thing happen. Someone reached out to me, and as they were reaching out to me, I was watching something, and someone was waving a picture of a dog, and the dog was wagging its tail like they were happy. And I associated the person who reached out with happiness. And this is just a random story, but I felt good, and I knew that God was validating this is a good person, right? Because that dog's tail was wagging as that person was reaching out, calling me. And that was a reading that I did for myself in that moment. So that's a synchronicity. And while it's not necessarily related to twin flames, it's definitely related to paying attention to the signs and connecting those dots. So telepathic communication. You and your twin flame may not have to pick up a phone and reach out, and you may, but you may not have to, because if you are connected with somebody, like truly connected, they hear you. That's something I know. I know that about the soulmate journey. And I know that about just readings, period, and the way that I do my work. I understand that. But telepathic communication with a twin flame is wonderful because it's my favorite kind. It's how you know that I'm with my person. I have figured, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's hard, even if there are all of these obstacles for us to overcome, I'm with my person. And it makes it worth the work, right? So, increased psychic abilities. This is something that I notice just happens because of how I carry myself, meaning the people that I'm around. I don't really surround myself with people that aren't investigating their own or invested in their own psychic growth and development. So if you're not doing your work, I'm probably not somebody that's going to be a personal close friend with you. Every single friend I have calls me and talks to me about angel numbers, even if I introduce them to them, and most of them I did. But they tell me about their angel numbers. We talk about the signs and synchronicities. We talk about animal totems. I love that. I love it so much. So there's nobody in my life that has access to me, including my husband, who isn't doing their own work regarding my life partner. That's my husband. And I'm going to make a video about that. Your life partner isn't your twin flame. Your twin flame isn't your soulmate. Your husband, life partner. These are different things. Husband, wife. Life partners are people you go through life with, guys. There are more relationships than just the one. It's controversial, and Belinda has asked me a question, and I've mentioned her before. She's a loyal subscriber, and I appreciate her watching. And she was like, "What's up with that? You have a husband?" She wasn't being judgmental. She was asking like a really good question. She was like, "You have a husband, but you always talk about this twin flame and soulmate journey and the rest of it," because I understand that probably your best marriages are the ones where you are on some level emotionally realize you're not going to yield everything from one person. We are people, and we have our dynamics, and we have our thing to offer, and that's why these journeys even exist. Okay, guys? So break out of your boxes, your puritanical boxes about what relationships are. So many people are unhappy because they have relegated themselves to that one idea, and then they find themselves miserable. If you flesh out your relationships, and you honor your friendships, and you investigate these other relationships, and you do it with respect, you live a more fulfilled life. Those are facts. All right. So let's talk about it. Telepathic communication, increased psychic abilities, intuitive knowing. So some of you out there may know that this person's your twin flame, or when you were in your soulmate journey, whatever, you knew that that person was it, and you just had a deep intuitive knowing. Angel numbers are everywhere. Like I just said, it's one of my favorite things. You notice angel numbers 222, 333, 444. I also get more complicated angel numbers because that's just the nature of my spiritual evolution. And so my angel numbers are, in fact, I have some that I'll be talking about here, 7-5 and 5-8. 5-8, various things. Okay, so angel numbers abound, but they abound for me anyway. So for those of you that are just waking up to the twin flame journey, or maybe the spiritual path, they might be abounding more for you. So that's something to think about. Okay, guys? All right, the next one is your connection gets more intense even in separation. I thought that was really interesting. Your connection gets more intense even in separation. So that means that you are in this position where you start to think about them, even if you can't have access to them. I also looked up another article. This one's actually out of Cosmo. That one was out of my notes. So I'm going to go through this because I think that this gives us a more meaty definition if you're really wanting to know. So the soulmate has strictly romantic connotations. A twin flame doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, right? So while they say that the romance is preferable in finding your twin flame, falling in love with someone who totally gets you sounds pretty nice. It's amazing. However, it doesn't necessarily have to be a be all and end all regarding the twin flame. Okay, so think of a soulmate as someone who would essentially, we'd like to think in theory, fight to the death for us. A twin flame is more about the connection you share with a person who is largely built on the commonalities from your past in a healthy way. Okay, a twin flame's purpose is to help you teach each other and grow. In spiritual teaching, twin flames are two halves of one soul that have united. That's what they say, right? This is the idea. Now, you guys, you can leave your comments below if you feel it's different. I really would love to hear, but this is what it is. They teach each other profound lessons. Okay. Twin flame relationships might be very on and off, which is so funny because I feel like I was living a soulmate situation that was like that. And they don't necessarily last a lifetime either, twin flame relationships. So once the lessons have been learned, we may or may not stay in the relationship. And to me, I want to flip this and reverse it because I feel like that's what happened with it. I think you can have many soulmates. I feel like you only have one twin flame. That's just me. So I beg to differ even as I'm reading it here. And the relationship might be super tense and emotional. So they're saying here that they think that soulmates complete each other and twin flames are more about pushing each other to grow. I feel like my last situation pushed me towards growth and then a release. I don't want to hold on to it at all, but I feel like the twin flame is different. So I'm disagreeing with this even as I'm reading it to you. You'll feel like you've known your person for your whole life. Now that I can attest to. I think that's true. There's a comfort when you have a twin flame come into your life that's just like they fit. They fit. This is family. This is my person. It is what it is. They feel very familiar in a way that you can't quite explain, but you feel instantly very comfortable with them. And as you get to know each other, you might come across details of your upbringing that you have in common, such as both being adopted, or you might have even been at the same events in the same time without you ever meeting. So the meeting of your twin flame, they say, is intense and familiar at the same time. Your twin flame will feel like home for you. That I don't know if I have a twin flame. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've been going through a thing and I don't know. But what I will say is that a feeling of home is something I definitely relate to. Like there is a feeling of like home. And you'll often share similar interests, thoughts, strengths, and weaknesses. And this is a psychologist, a doctor that essentially and a dating expert that talks about the twin flame journey here. You'll act as mirrors for each other. So all the similarity is so you and your twin flame will eventually reflect to each other in a way that heals deeply held wounds from childhood or even past lives. This mirror-like quality is also responsible for some of the drama you will likely encounter, and that felt more with my karmic soulmate, that I had a lot of drama as we did mirror things with each other. I think the twin flame is lighter. I just feel like it's more effervescent. It feels like seltzer to me, you know? So what we do in the twin flame journey or the soulmate journey, I think it's more the soulmate. Everything that we've spent our lives running from or denying is suddenly in front of us. That was more my karmic soulmate. I don't feel like that's associated with the twin flame journey, but please comment below. Not everyone finds their twin flame, they say, but if you do, it has the potential to be totally life-changing and the kind of love you've never experienced. So, once in a lifetime, never going to be the same after you encounter them. I go back to the physical merging part of that. Imagine sleeping with somebody that has that potential. It's almost overwhelming to think about, but there are many of us out here who are manifesting that. So if you have manifested a twin flame connection and you've managed to hold it together and it didn't shatter apart with all of the outside things that can sometimes distract us, please comment below. First of all, super happy for you. Second of all, I want to know more about it because I have been so focused on another thing that this and the possibility of this just seem like, is this just another shenanigan? Is this going to be another bunch of BS like I just went through? Is it even worth investing into? So these are the things that I think. Now, the answer is always yes. I love love. Mo loves the love. I'm an empath who loves love and is always wishing that for you. So if you are embarking on your twin flame journey and you do feel like you know what it is, please share some intel below. I'm learning, and this is how we actually evolve together.